All right, considering how warmly we were greeted by the dwarves in the market area and the common area, I can just imagine how the upper crust is going to treat us here in the Diamond Quarter. Yes, these are the hoity-toity of Dwarven society up here, where all the nobles and the Deshyrs pontificate and posture in front of one another. And this is where we came from, actually.
I did not expect to see you again.
The higher class you
I'm
are,
afraid you will find Orzammar
unless you're actually on the surface.
Good point, Alistair. Yeah, even here underground, the dwarves, you know, place themselves over everyone else so they can look down on the peasants and the serfs and the dusters in their society. You can see the rest of the Dwarven kingdom down below from the balcony there, too.
This has dragged on too long. It's an insult to King Endrin's memory.
I think Lady Dace is the one that cussed us out for taking money from that dude to suggest that the surface dwarves were actually worth something in the eyes of the ancestors.
Clans endorsed Lord Bhelen as the new king. Change is inevitable, and it must come.
There's something to be said for the dwarves that have gone to the surface to trade, is that, you know, if Dwarven society, at least economically speaking, are going to rely on surface trade for income, then the surface dwarfs ought to have their own caste. Not be a non-caste or cast outs, but create a new caste for them. That would be a solution here. Not like I have any real political mind or anything, but, you know, it's a thought. You know, create a surface caste. And being born into that means that you essentially don't have a place in Dwarven society, but that you would have your own ancestors, like someone who comes up with great trade agreements with the countries and serves as a like a premier diplomat, ought to be made a paragon just like anyone else underground.
Outraged, a thief in the shapered. What have we been reduced to? I did. He was bald, with the most garish brand across his head, almost like he took pride in being casteless. Imagine. He's probably in the slums somewhere. As if he'd find a buyer for a stolen tome in Dust Town. They couldn't know the value.
Alright, so we open up a new side quest. Although, when it comes down to lore, you know, that may not fit into lore, doing something like that, but you know, it's still a thought. I mean, if you're going to change things, just add to it, don't change it.
Oh, pardon me. Were you looking for a particular volume? Not that I could really help. I don't know the libraries very well. I'm just doing some research. I was looking for something about the Orton Tig. It was lost during the last Blight, and there aren't many records left. They were a noble house once, descended from the Paragon Orton, who composed the grand epic of the Seven Brothers and the Ortonic Symphony. My mother's family believes they were descended from Kalana Orton, who was training in Orzammar when the Tig fell. I'm even named for the house, Orta. Unfortunately, any records would be buried in the Tig's ruins, somewhere in the deep roads. A Grey Warden? Mother always said that if anyone could find the Tig, it was the Wardens. I hear Prince Bhelen and Lord Harrimont have both been sending out small teams these days. Yes, if you can find the Tig in any records, that could do it. That could prove I'm a noble. If you could. Maybe now that you're looking. It's almost too much to hope.
Okay, now I think that opens up a whole new area in the Deep Roads that's not available otherwise, I think. The Orton Tig is a place you can go to search for her records, you know, so she can prove her ancestry. There's a great reward for doing it for her, also. Once she becomes nobility, or proves her nobility, then she gives you a bunch of gold or something like that. But I'm most interested in the new area it unlocks down there. I need to remember before we actually get off in the Deep Roads to go back and... I'm going to get Shale. I'm going to go ahead and bring him along and use him as a tank and see how that goes. Hopefully it doesn't wreck the team. I haven't really gotten much into his tactics and stuff. I'll have to take a real close look at that and try to configure him so that he's usable. Try to improve his tankiness. I'm sure he'll be alright. I mean, that's what he's for, is to fight Darkspawn, right? Yeah, we're sure to meet lots of those down below.
Done.
When I last walked this hall, Endrin was king and Orzammar was at peace. The memories often speak of the swiftness with which change overtakes us. But it is different to see it firsthand. I apologize, Warden. I should not burden a stranger with such thoughts. I am Zebor, the Shaper of Memories. Your exile is written in the memories, Warden. I am sorry, but Orzammar cannot be your home, nor I your Shaper. We must all obey the Ancestors' rules. Ask, and I shall do my best to answer. All dwarves who die return to the stone as ancestors, to guide their families forever. But only one every few generations rises to Paragon. A Paragon is a dwarf whose accomplishments change Orzammar so much that the Assembly recognizes they've been born blessed. They are venerated as living ancestors and found a new noble house forever bearing their name. There is one Paragon of this generation, a woman named Branka. She was born a smith, but her inventions caught the Assembly's eye. Before she had seen 20 years, she created a smokeless coal. It could burn in a cave without vents and no one would choke from it. It earned her Paragon status. She went into the deep roads 2 years ago seeking out secrets of the ancient smiths. She never returned. According to our legends, 7 brothers founded our empire. The youngest, Bloodlik, was the wisest and was chosen king. His children formed the noble caste. The eldest, Giachet, trained his sons to defend their king. They became the warrior caste. Shotgyar founded the artisans. Orzatyar forged our first swords. It was Orzammar who dug the mines that became our city's foundations. The twins Koapar and Noct both founded trading houses, but Noct was wounded in battle. On his recovery, he swore to serve his brother's sons. The casteless descend from criminals and those repudiated by their own families, or who chose to go to the surface and live by human laws. They have no ancestors to guide them and no families to claim them. They should not have been born. Their parents defied their shame and brought cursed children into the world. It's better they die young.
Wow.
Their births are not recorded in the memories. In Orzammar, they do not exist. Is there something more pleasant you wish to discuss? Perhaps the books here can make up for the lack of attention you paid your elders. We were a great empire once, and our land stretched through the deep roads. Kal Sharok was capital then, but we lost too many battles. We lost our golems, and we lost our territory. Now the Empire is simply ruined tunnels filled with darkspawn. The Paragon Caridin, a smith of unsurpassed genius, invented the golems. For years they were our weapon against the darkspawn. One golem is worth a dozen dwarves in battle, but Caridin's Tig is far into the deep roads. When it fell, we lost his secret to creating golems. There are books about it along these walls if you would read more. At the other side of the old empire, during the last blight, the kings of Orzammar knew they couldn't hold everything. They sealed the deep roads, abandoning everyone still trapped in far-flung settlements. It was the only way to survive. Kal Sharok is the only other city to outlast the blight. We only rediscovered them recently, and they still haven't forgiven us. I will settle your mind if I can, Warden. Please, speak your mind. That is an odd request. Have you grown so fond of the Surfacer's ways in your brief absence? I thought so. This is not the first time he's made this plea. My answer to Brother Burkle hasn't changed. So I ask you the same. On what basis would you have me insult the ancestors and overturn 2,000 years of tradition? What sort of charities do you mean? I am not certain this is in Orzammar's best interests. Our castes have served us well, but it's possible this service could benefit our people. Very well, he may hold a prayer meeting as he requested, if not build a new temple to his god. At least the words would come from one of our own. Now, is there anything more? I will record this conversation in the memories. I hope I do not come to regret it.
Okay, and so I'm not saying that this isn't already a thing, but creating a new caste for the surface dwarves, surface caste, would solve a lot of that. You wouldn't be disrupting the caste system, which they've lived by, and time has proven that it's worked. I don't know how good or bad or well or unwell it's worked, whatever, but 2,000 years later, they're doing their own thing down here. Been on the front line against the Darkspawn all along, and they're still surviving, so there's something to be said for that. With all of its flaws, there at least has to be some redeeming qualities to have carried their society this far. Nothing else, it's somewhat of a disciplined society, even if it does foster a rich environment for a lot of intrigue, and in a close society like this, you put one bad apple in that barrel, and the whole barrel turns bad.
Exile. What insult do you mean by coming here?
Insult your face. That's what I mean.
I won't be passing that message on, Exile. Your brother will be king soon. He's the one who decides who lives and who dies.
I might decide you die too, punk. Yeah, punk. Alright. So anyway.
The assembly is in session. Enter quietly if you wish to observe.
Let's see what's going on in here.
Your mind has gone to dust if you think we would pass such a writ. Half our houses would go broke without the surface trade.
The proposal is only effective until we have a king to ensure we are respected by the surfacers.
Leaving you conveniently positioned to take over all contracts. I'll see your head on a pike first.
Deshyrs, lords and ladies of the assembly. I've already doubled the guard to prevent violence. Must I summon more?
Steward Bangalore, Bhelen's sympathizers are tying our hands with trivialities. They may as well open us to the sky.
I suggest we put the matter to a vote.
And I suggest you have a taste of my family's mace.
Enough! The assembly is in recess until the members can regain control of their emotions.
How to win an argument in the assembly. I suggest you have a taste of my family's mace. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I'm going to remember that one.
Stone-forsaken fools and dusters. So it's true. The exile has returned, and we are to treat you as a respected guest. It's the one perk to this position, child. Or should I call you Warden? I'm glad to hear the surfacers are making use of your talents. Respect for your role is great, but you won't receive a proper hearing until we have a king on the throne. Troubling, but it will still seem distant compared to the empty throne. The assembly is blind to all else. This is their world, and it ended when Endron died. Dulin Verender, Harriman's man, can be found at the Harriman estate. Vartag Gavorn, Prince Bhelen's second, is often here in the assembly. I only wish there was more I could do for you. Warden, I'm afraid the assembly is still locked in debate. What can I do for you? I must admit, Warden, I am at a loss myself. It lies with Prince Bhelen or Lord Harriman, and they are slow to trust anyone in these uncertain times. Dulin Verender, Harriman's man, I only wish there was more.
Alright, enough said. Okay, so that kind of sets the quest line for this particular part of the story, is to gain the trust of somebody.
Lord
So that we
Harriman
can-
sends his greetings, Exile.
So we can get our help with
He was
the
surprised
blight.
to see you back here.
That may be, and that is a terrible risk for the surface. But even if the world would end tomorrow, Lord Harrowmont cannot ignore Bhelen today. He cannot afford to trust anyone of unproven loyalties. Lord Harrowmont always had too much affection for you. But I know you Idukans and your thirst for glory.
Oh, do
If
you?
you wish to show you have no loyalty to Bhelen, then work against him in Harrowmont's name. Bhelen is hosting a proving today, supposedly to honor his father's memory. The Deshyrs take it very seriously, and unfortunately, Bhelen found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Harrowmont's best fighters into stepping down. That would be enlightening, though I hope you won't pry too deeply into things they don't wish revealed. If you wish to show your loyalty, enter the proving as his lordship's champion. With your order's reputation, I've no doubt the ancestors would favor your arm. Bhelen would never work with anyone who humiliated him in that way. Harrowmont would have no fear of meeting with you then. Excellent. The arena is located off the Commons. Talk to the Proving Master and tell him you're entering Lord Harrowmont's roster. The key fighters we lost were Guidon and Beisel. You can look for them in the fighters' preparation chambers behind the ring. And be sure it's before the fights begin. After the first bout, no one may change the roster. If you need to find me again, I will wait in the Tapster's Tavern off the Commons. There is no better place to hear gossip. Perhaps even word of your victory.
I like how they work that in the dialogue, is essentially your instructions and a warning that, you know, once you enter the fight, it's too late. So if you're going to deal with the two Harrowmont fighters who have abandoned their duty to fight in Harrowmont's name, if you're going to deal with them, you got to deal with them first. The Bioware games are notorious for cutoff points, where if you haven't accomplished certain things up to that point, then you lose them. You lose the opportunity to do it. Mass Effect was like that, all the Dragon Age games.
This isn't the vault. We have to get out of here.
Now, apparently, oops, they were looking for one place and wound up in the Royal Palace instead, or... Well, hopefully they all dropped loot.
What's going on? Why the ancestors? Good on you, Warden. You caught them in the act. I guess desperate times drive people to strange things.
Band of tunneling thieves. That is like my favorite looking armor on dwarves. That right there. Alright, now might as well go look for any chests we missed previously, right?
Task complete. On to the next.
It's possible on a previous visit we actually looted a lot of this already, but see, stuff is back, including this. Now, either I wasn't here before, or this wasn't here before. One or the other, but we know what this means. Another one of these guys. And of course he's boss level. Now, if you see on that circle underneath the Revenant's feet, that that half circle behind him is essentially the backstab area, but he's immune to them. I mean, I'm guessing that's the case, because you'd see the animation for a backstab is that, there it is, right there. Now, if you're paralyzed or stunned, backstabs are automatic. But other than that, I'm definitely in backstab range, and I'm not getting any here. Not to mention that, but my attack rating is really high, and I can't seem to hit this guy more than half the time. Lots of misses. There we go. One more Revenant down. I don't know how many that is. Half a dozen already, right? I do not remember exactly what all these scraps of paper for the Revenant are for, but you collect them all. I think you essentially have to kill all the Revenants in the game, and it eventually leads to, I think like a demon, a boss-type fight later in one of the back alleys in Denerim. I may be relating two things that aren't related, but, okay, caged in stone. Now, there's something I want to point out here, okay? We just fought a Revenant down here. It seems kind of out of place, because Revenants are normally found around where Tevinters and mages, or Tevinters and elves, or Tevinters and humans, you know, other humans, or whatever. Wherever those kind of battles have been taking place, which kind of led to my theory that Revenants are actually Tevinter Templars. Because they really look like Templars, actually. Kind of a version of Templars, with, you know, the skirt, bottom half of their armor, and the winged helmet, and so on and so forth. Whatever the case may be, they're found around phylacteries and all that. Well, there's no mages amongst the dwarves. So what was that doing there? Why was there a phylactery down here amongst the dwarves? And why is it literally just down the hall from this right here? And you'll see in a second. Once I get everyone in place, right? Got these two guys standing on these two pressure plates, and then had to leave Wynn in that room back there, which was probably a mistake, but whatever. You come over here and trigger this, and it unlocks a dragon. Now, anyone who's more familiar with the significance of dragons specifically, this might even have more relevance as far as the story goes. But we have this dragon here, and we have a Revenant in this other room, and we're down here amongst the dwarves. Why? Why here amongst the dwarves? And look at this lyrium deposit here also. We see lyrium deposits like circling this entire room here. And now, of course, you know, lyrium being associated with mages. Would this eventually become red lyrium later on in the story? Like, you know, two sequels of this game from now. But I'm just saying. We know the red lyrium idol is what caused the problems in Dragon Age 2. We'll actually look into that further when we get into Dragon Age 2. But, just, you know, all these things are related. They have to be related. This dragon isn't here by accident. Caged in stone. Actually, there's, you know, once we touch the throne, there's probably a codex unlocked, which may explain some of this. But, it is a means to get this special unique weapon here. Two-handed sword, which I can't use. Guess I could give it to Stan if I brought him along with me, but, still, the key thing here is this dragon and a, Revenant with a phylactery in the next room, and why they would be here amongst the dwarves, and what significance that has. It has to have significance. It's like a hidden type deal. You wouldn't really discover the relation of the two unless you set off that little puzzle of the stepping stones in that room to unleash the dragon himself. So anyway, with that in mind, any of you guys that have any further insight into how that might be relevant, then hey, use the comment section below. Most definitely. I would like to hear somebody's take on that. I'm just basically going from building to building, unlocking a quest if I can find one, that type of thing. Of course, wouldn't have found the dragon without that, so... And on back this way, we need to eventually get to the proving. That is essentially our next order of business. But you know what? Let me go off in Harrowmont Estate here. And see if nothing else, there aren't some locks to pick or something. Could be some XP to be had here. I have to remember the key to the city, which we unlocked by finding that codex when we first entered in amongst all those statues of the Paragon. After we entered in the very front doors to Orzammar. It seems like there's either something else we need to find or something else we need to do, and the key itself will show up in a kind of a big vase-looking thing.
That wasn't so bad.
At some point later on. I think in the assembly entrance hall. I think. But it's actually crucial to my build. It's a key that I'm really going to need. I have a ring on now that serves essentially the same purpose. It adds +2 to my strength so that I can wear the armor I'm wearing. So that I don't have to sink any more points into that. But the key to the city adds +2 to all attributes, which is of course even better. And I can pass this ring along to someone else, like, I don't know, Alistair or whatever.
Finished.
Alright, so, well, 5 XP. That's a spit in the ocean, but hey. Better than nothing, I guess. And we'll eventually be back here to talk to Lord Harrowmont himself, but in order to trigger that, we need to go do some stuff. Mainly, go to the proving in his name and prove our loyalty to his cause, rather than Bhelen's. I'm not really going to look too far into the Bhelen side of things, because the dude's a sleazeball, and feel like I'll catch a disease, have to wash my hands just by touching anything he has to do with. So I'm going to avoid him entirely. Alright, now that leads down to the deep roads there.
You're the best wrangler I've ever seen.
Turn in any nugs I have. You know what?
You're the best wrangler I've ever seen. But I trust Valor.
Okay, I guess that's all I guess you have to turn them in individually. I think the last one's in Dusttown.
Rumors that a certain wine merchant is falling behind on his payments.
I can't imagine what you mean. I pay my expenses.
What about the expenses your good friend Jarvia incurs when providing your protection? It's not easy ensuring nothing bad happens, that no one decides to just burn everything in your store.
My store! Please, I don't have much. Business isn't good.
Not a very subtle threat, is it?
Tell Jarvia I'll get her money.
Jarvia is not happy with your promises, old man. Now let's go inside and see what you've been holding back.
Whatever redeeming quality their caste system might have, the one glaring fault is the guarantee of a criminal caste, by not only creating it, but ensuring that it always exists.
This is all I have right now. I could get more if I sell something.
Well, well, looks like we have a visitor. Friend of yours?
Is there a problem here, friend? Are these men threatening you?
Please, don't get involved with this. You don't know what they're like.
Then allow me to make some introductions. These are dangerous times in Orzammar, stranger. Lucky us, the merciful Jarvia is offering protection from the chaos. You're wearing some fancy stuff there. Might make you a target. So if you want the Carta's guarantee of safety, it's yours for the reasonable price of 10 gold sovereigns. Or I can't say what might happen.
I'll tell you what's about to happen. I could say it real easy.
Are you going to make your donation to the Stranger Safety Fund? Or do I have to show you how dangerous Orzammar is? Whatever you say, lady.
I sense something wrong.
I want the XP and the loot from your corpse. That's what I want. But if you create a criminal caste, which, you know, the caste list is nothing but it's a caste. You can call it what you want, but it's a caste. It's a criminal caste. It's you're guaranteeing the existence of a steady stream, an unending, basically, line of criminals. In fact, if one isn't born a criminal, you still consider them having been born criminal, because they're born into the casteless caste, and they're going to become one because they're forced into that by the nature of the caste itself. It's
what have you done? Great ancestors, he's dead in my store. I have to get out of here. I have to hide. Jarvia will hunt me down for this. She's a monster, plain and simple. The Carta used to prey only on their own kind, but since Jarvia stepped in, they even dare the upper city. Whoever takes the throne had better root out the whole nest of them. That Carta's worse than a pack of cave rats. A band of casteless thugs. They're to blame for all the crime in Orzammar these days. They're criminals, and the children of criminals. The ancestors themselves declared them irredeemable. Their births are abominations. They were born from no Kalna, with no acknowledgement by the Shapers. They are destined to be criminals. Actually, we shouldn't be talking here. I need to run.
What's funny is it was a noble who killed my brother, most likely killed my father, had me exiled, treason, treachery, and every other abominable thing, is celebrities can be assholes and poor people can be really good people. Okay, so the caste system ignores individuality, ignores the ability of someone to rise above their station, and also ignores the responsibility of a society to smash the high and mighty for being pieces of shit. Okay, and so you lose the ability to do that. As a noble is untouchable, and a casteless is irredeemable, and that gives no one the ability to either earn or lose the privileges that they're born into. It's just it's a shame. But it is discipline. I'll give them that. It is a strict system to live by. I mean, you know the rules and you can go by them. Makes it simple for everybody. All right. So if you want to subscribe, click that button over my head. To watch the rest of my videos, click the boxes on the left, Origins on top, all my videos on bottom. And I appreciate you watching. And I will catch you guys on the next one. You take care. Bye-bye.